Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, where it's all about creating the life you want, the business you want, and making a real difference. Join us in unlocking the code to true success. And now your host, Tony Caliendo, Master Coach with Rethink Coaching.
Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, episode number 146. I'm Tony Caliendo, author of Less Over More, and executive coach here at Rethink Coaching. As always, I just want to take a minute and thank you for sharing your time with me. Time truly is our greatest asset, and the fact that you're willing to share it with me today means a great deal. So welcome to today's episode. Today is about a topic and subject that is very near and dear to my heart. In fact, it was so important in my experience as a coach and a human being and an entrepreneur that I wanted to share my message with the world. And what better way to do that than to write a book? And for years, I just had it in the back of my mind that I was going to do this. And I had to wait for the right moment, the right time, and create that space. So today I want to talk to you about what about this book is different and how it can impact you in your life, in your business, and the way that you look at and define success for yourself. What really prompted me to write the book is that I had a lot of people coming to me that were successful, that had achieved a level of success that they had desired, that they set out as their original goal. And yet they had achieved it and were not enjoying it. It was not what they expected. It was really a dream that should be enjoyable, has turned into a bit of a nightmare. Made them not want to be where they were, made them want to depart from their success. Some of them walking away from their business completely. Some of them so frustrated and burned out, they just didn't quite know what to do. And this message kept coming up over and over and over. Therefore, the book Less Over More was born. This has been a project I've been working on for the last 18 months, and it will be published and made available in August 25th of 2026 to be exact. And this is the first time that I'm really talking about it publicly to those of you who listen to my podcast, because I want you to hear it first. I want you to hear how this can change your success and the way that you look at your life and your business as we move forward. So there's a pattern really that I couldn't ignore, and that is that pattern of year and year after coaching high performers, leaders, and entrepreneurs and other professionals, that I kept seeing those people who were incredibly successful on paper, yet they were very disconnected from the life that they actually wanted. I mean, let's think about it. We started off as entrepreneurs, leaders, business owners, C-suite leaders in having a definition or goal of achieving success. We did not really ever think that there was going to be a divide between that success and the life that you really wanted to create through that success. Yet that's where so many people have ended up. And I think a lot of it is because people evaluate success by achievement alone, right? It's only one metric, yet it seems to be the metric that we use quite a bit here in the States and in other countries around the world. And I think it's really important for us to take a step back and really reflect on what we have done and do a little mini success audit. I talk about this in the book, and it's really critical for us to really redefine what success is for you, not what success has been imposed on you. So if we just took a step back and did not use achievement as our only metric, what if you asked yourself these questions? What have you achieved in the last 12 months? More than just sales volume, income, what have you achieved in your life and your business in the last 12 months? What did it cost you? There's a cost associated with everything, and I'm just curious for you to get connected to what it really cost you. Did it end up creating the life, the energy, the relationships, the fulfillment that you actually wanted when you started off on your journey towards this goal or this version that you held for yourself of success? Would I want to repeat the process exactly the same way if I could do it over? And I love that question. If we, through the magic of television, could go back and start over, would you repeat the process exactly the same, or would you do something different? And the last question I would say to ask yourself when you're doing a mini success audit is, am I proud of the outcome, but exhausted by the path? And I think that is where we feel we're living in maybe an either or. And this is what happens when I talk to successful people that come and join my world as a client, is we tend to believe either I can have an incredibly successful business, or I can enjoy my life and the journey and everything about it. It doesn't seem to be an and. And that's what I would like to change for you as we move forward. How do you achieve both? How do you achieve success and balance? How do you achieve success and joy? How do you achieve those things together, not separately? Because one without the other is going to cause a lot of discourse in your life and in your business. The other thing I want to talk to you about today that we go over in the book is somewhere, somehow, the goal became about more. Quite simply, more became the goal. And it is because that became our default definition of success. I think about this a lot on my journey to where I am today. When I was in corporate America, journey to success was pretty easy. It was outline what you needed to do to keep your job and what you needed to do to excel at your job. So that definition was really handed to us. And yes, we could tweak it a little bit, yet at the end of the day, there was a path that we were meant to follow. It wasn't really until I became an entrepreneur where I owned my own companies that I realized the impact of knowing my definition of success, that it wasn't just about doing more. We tend to grade ourselves, if you will, on, if I'm not achieving goal or I'm falling short or I want to be in the next level of success, I simply need to do more. I need to have more responsibilities. I need to have more achievements, more recognition, more money, more growth. And that's where we tend to put our focus. And because more is so celebrated in our world, most people rarely stop to question whether the more they are pursuing is actually meaningful. I share this example when I first became a realtor, and that's what I did after I left corporate America. I had that entrepreneurial spirit. I wanted to go do something that I could build and create on my own. Yet I didn't really know what it meant to be a successful broker realtor. So when I signed up for my first brokerage, which I owe a lot to, in Dallas, Texas, back in 2001, I took on their definition of success. I took on how they measured success as my measurement for success. And what I discovered on this journey as I was getting recognition and awards for performing at a high level, the awards and recognition were great, but it really didn't fulfill me in a way that I felt really good about what I was doing, because I was using their version, their story of success. More units sold, more income earned, more revenue sold, more market share. Those were all metrics that they were using that are important to measure your business with, yet not what fulfilled me on my journey to success. And so if we're looking at this and we want to take a little more inventory in our own lives, I want you to ask yourself a few questions. Where in my life am I currently pursuing more? Why am I pursuing it? Who taught me this version of more equals success? I think back to that story of getting hired by the broker. I was obsessed, which is a big word to use, but I was obsessed with success to meet their metrics to get recognition. And so who taught me my version of success? The broker. Was it wrong? No, it was their version though. And that is who taught me. The next question I want you to ask yourself is this more creating alignment or just more pressure? For me, it was an incredible amount of pressure when I was a newer agent, because the bar was set. There were success boards and posters and recognition. There was a lot of pressure associated with the journey to success through their definition. Is this more connected to my values or connected to comparison? And I think comparison has a place, because for me, I think comparison, when done in a healthy way, demonstrates what's possible that you can do. However, the majority of the time, when we're just doing more for the sake of more, it tends to be related to comparison. And I think that's what a lot of awards ceremonies are within organizations is a way for people to compare. Do I think that's healthy? For me, no. Yet for some, it may work. But to me, once I identified what success meant to me and the value it held to me, things changed. So at the end of it all, more is really not the problem, right? Doing more is not the problem. This book is not about just sitting back and doing less and experiencing incredible success or manifestation. That is not it. It's really about examining the more that you're doing. Is it the right more? Because unexamined more is actually the problem, not just doing more. The other thing to consider is there's a high cost of the wrong more. And this is really important and a big part of what the book Less Over More is about. It really is about helping you rethink your path, reset your future, and to rebuild the life that you love. When we're pursuing the wrong more, anything you keep adding, chasing, proving, or carrying that's moving you further away from the life that you actually want. I want you to think about that. When we're pursuing the wrong more. So when we're not in alignment, when we're not creating that alignment, or it's not connected to our values, yet we're stacking more, we're adding more things to do, we're chasing bigger numbers, we're proving to others our success, and we're carrying a lot that doesn't belong to us, that's the wrong more. And that moves you maybe further away from the life that you actually want with minimal movement towards success. You see, when you're chasing the wrong more, it is not as efficient at getting you to success as when you are following the right more. Sometimes the wrong more will look productive. I mean, how couldn't it, right? You're doing all of these activities, you stack things to do, you're proving your position in the world, in your business, in your life. And occasionally and often it creates results. It's to what degree are the results going to be experienced and at what sacrifice, exhaustion, pressure, resentment, disconnection, confusion, burnout, anxiety, frustration. When we're chasing the wrong more, those are common emotions that we're experiencing. And a lot of times we're kind of at the end of our rope. And that is because we've been chasing the wrong more. So there's an energy audit that we talk about in Less Over More as well, is what is producing results but draining my life? What am I doing because it looks successful to others? What commitments no longer match who I'm becoming? And what am I afraid would happen if I stopped? What is success currently costing me that I no longer want to pay? This is so up to you as to what you want to do. I will tell you the one thing that really sticks with me in this energy audit is what am I afraid would happen if I stopped? And I give this example in the book where I talk about as a corporate employee, when opportunities were presented to me, I would say yes, even if they weren't in alignment. I would say yes to doing a different role because number one, I was afraid of what would happen if I said no, and ego got involved. If I said no and passed on the opportunity and they gave it to the next person, and then I got to watch that person excel and do something bigger than what I was doing, it was going to eat me alive. And that was because I was chasing the wrong more. There was a time in my career in my corporate world that I said yes to moving out of sales and into operations. And while I think it was important to learn the other side of the business in the hotel industry, my true passion, my true strength resided in sales. And when I stepped into operations, could I make it work? Yes. However, it was stealing a bit of my joy. It was out of alignment. And so saying yes to the wrong things just because I was afraid if I didn't, somebody else might excel, or what would happen if I said no? Would I ever be offered another opportunity again? And I was carrying these stories around with me, lent itself to really depleting my energy. I loved sales and I still do. I love sales. And being in an operational role, that passion for sales did help. Yet I will tell you energetically, it wasn't as uplifting as when I held positions in sales. So not everything that creates results will create alignment. That's really important for you to keep in mind. That's why the question is not just, is it working? The better question that you should be asking yourself is it worth what it's costing me? This is really important to be in alignment with these questions. Is it working is not the only question we need to ask. Because on paper, it could look like it's working beautifully, yet you're dying on the inside. You're exhausted, you're frustrated, you're burnt out. What you really need to ask when you're doing a success audit is it worth what it is actually costing me? And I'm not talking about just dollars. What's it costing you? The other thing to consider that we talk about on this journey is that there was a discovery for me that changed everything that I wanted to share with my audience. And the core message that I wanted to share is less is not about doing nothing. Less is not about playing small. Less is not about scarcity. Less is not about lowering your standards or abandoning your ambition. It is a strategic subtraction. That's what less is in less over more. It's a strategic subtraction. It's the intentional removal of what no longer belongs so the right things have room to grow. And I love this. When you clear the space of the wrong more or the wrong things, you suddenly have space for the universe, God, whatever you believe in, to deliver more for your journey moving forward. So in this moment where we are addressing what less is, and we're talking about the wrong more versus right more, ask yourself a couple questions. What am I trying to create in this season of life? What activities, habits, relationships, or commitments directly support this season of life? What only creates motion, noise, or obligation? What is my right more? What wrong more needs to be removed to make the space for it? So I'll give you an example. When I agreed to write the book, and it's quite a journey for those of you who are curious, you write a proposal and hopes that an agent picks you up. Then your agent does another proposal with you to publishing houses in hopes that one of them likes your pitch. This journey created an opportunity for me to really eliminate some of the things that I've been doing that were the wrong more. And I really had to step back and use my own coaching on me and identify what is it that I needed to remove to create the space to write a powerful book. And in the process, I realized I was doing some things out of habit. I was doing some things that I wasn't even thinking about anymore that really were not moving me forward any longer. They were rather stagnant. So there was a couple of group coaching programs that I no longer offer. There were a couple of clients that we disassociated with to create the space to work with the people that were really wanting to move forward on this journey of less over more. And so I had to be intentional in creating the space for it. And I had to remove some of the wrong more. Just keep in mind when you do this, less is not the opposite of more. Less is the path to the right more. Really, really important. Then there's this personal side of the story that I wanted to share. Writing Less Over More was not just about creating a book. It never was. Like for me, coaching is not just about accumulating clients. It's about making an impact in the world. It's about helping others achieve the goals that they want to achieve. And when I was on the journey of writing the book, it really forced me to look at my own relationship with achievement, identity, ambition, and what's enough. And there's a difference between teaching a concept and being willing to live it. So go back to the previous examples. There were some things that I had to eliminate because they were the wrong more. And it allowed the book to come to life. The personal side of the story is I have a vision to change how the world defines success. And while I will always continue to coach, my goal now, the personal side of this, is to write a book that can impact thousands, to be able to speak publicly about the concept of less over more, the power of subtraction. That really was the personal side to doing this. And so the subtraction questions had to be addressed in order for me to do this and do it at a high level. Not to mention a publishing house that I signed with shortened my timeline. Most authors are 18 to 24 months from agreement to publication. We shortened mine to 17 months. They really liked the concept and they wanted it to be published at a certain time. So here we go. So the subtraction questions that I would encourage you to think about would be if I could remove one thing from my life tomorrow, without it hurting my future, what would it be? What am I carrying that no longer belongs to me? What am I where am I overcomplicating success? What am I continuing only because I once said yes to it? What would become possible if I created space instead of adding more? Those are really powerful questions when you're starting this first to introduce the idea of subtraction, because for most of us, we would never consider subtraction. It's only about addition. Add more, do more, be more successful, have more things, buy more houses, buy more gadgets, buy more cars. It's really maybe the first time you've thought about subtraction in a really, really healthy way. Subtraction is really important. So sometimes the next level of growth does not come from adding something new. It comes from removing what has been in the way. We just don't realize it's been in the way. That's really important. Why this matters right now. I think this conversation matters more now than ever before because people are genuinely exhausted by a version of success that they never consciously chose. They're chasing goals they inherited or were told were important. They're living by definitions that they absorbed, not created. And they're measuring themselves against standards that may no longer fit. And that is okay to acknowledge that your standards have changed. Less over more is an invitation to redefine success through clarity, intentionality, alignment, and subtraction. Short lesson for you in redefining success. If nobody could see my success, how would I define it? If nobody could applaud it, what would still matter? If I stopped comparing, what would I choose? What version of success would actually support the life I want? And what do I want more of because it truly matters, not because it looks impressive? I'm asking these questions, and some of you may say, gosh, those sting a little bit. And what I am attempting to do by asking you these questions is to get you to wake up, to realize that you've got more control over what your version of success looks like than you ever thought before, to get you to wake up to what is important to you, not to the industry you're in, not to the family that has assigned goals, not to anything else, but what's important to you and redefining success for you. When I did this as an agent, when I did this as a coach, when I've done this in other businesses, I promise you the results were unbelievable because now I knew what success looked like for me and I could align my strategies up with that. And when they were all in alignment, it allowed me to show up as a happier person, more joyful, and achieve and get greater results than I did. So I was actually achieving more through less, hence less over more. I was achieving more results. So in closing, for the past 16 years, I've had the privilege of coaching leaders, entrepreneurs, business owners, high performers from all walks of life. And regardless of title, industry, income, or achievement level, I kept hearing a version of the same question. Why doesn't this feel the way I thought it would? I have everything that I set out to get in terms of success, but it doesn't feel like I thought it would. And it's not because they weren't successful. By all definitions given to them, they were. Many, many, many were more than successful. But it was coming at a cost. And it was coming at a cost because it was not in alignment or they never stopped to understand what success looked like for them. And it is costing a lot of people, and you might be one, where you're experiencing less peace, less presence, your health is impacted, your relationships are impacted. Joy may not exist anymore for you or clarity. But if you're willing to go on a journey, less over more is a phenomenal journey to join me on that can help you get back peace, presence, joy, healthier relationships, your health, and abundant clarity. And that's what the book is really about. It takes you on a journey from where you are to the potential that you have on your terms, how you can get there and not sacrifice. So this is for the person who's achieved things that they once dreamed of and still find themselves asking the question, why doesn't this feel the way I thought it would? It's for the person who's tired of constantly chasing the next milestone while postponing fulfillment, delaying fulfillment. It's for the leader, the entrepreneur, the professional, the parent, or high achiever who knows that there has to be a better way to create success without sacrificing themselves in the process. They just don't know how yet. And if you found yourself nodding along throughout this episode, there's a good chance that this message was written for you. So my goal is not just about selling books, right? My goal is to help again, change how the world defines success, to help you redefine success through the power of less, and to have great conversations around this very topic, because I full-heartedly believe that there's a large group of us in the world living that are successful at a cost. And I want it to feel really, really good. So Less Over More will be physically available in August. Here it is, middle of June, late June, depending on when you're listening to this. And what you can do is pre-order to get in early. We're offering some great incentives and some awesome bonuses for people who pre-order now. Whether you pre-order one book or two or 30 or 50, if you run teams, if you run organizations, this is a really great book to show your people that you care about you. I always say order two, buy one, gift one. At that level, you unlock some serious bonuses that you can read about on the website, lessovermore.com. The book will take you on a journey that maybe you've never been on before and will give you permission to reassess how you're going to achieve success and what that looks like for you in all areas of your life. It helps you with thought strategies. It helps you identify opportunities that you may not have even seen, and it really helps you create your true path forward. If you're interested, I would invite you to take advantage of the pre-sale bonus items by going to lessovermore.com. And I believe it's if you buy two, so buy one, gift one, if you will. You get access to community, you get access to a free monthly coaching call. There's a lot of bonus items in there for you to join in on. It's my way of saying thank you for believing in me and ordering the book prior to its official launch, which is August 25th of this year. If you have any questions, please let me know. This really has been a passion project and one that I learned a lot on the journey. And it was a great reminder for me about achieving my success through less over more and picking the right more for me. I would love for you to join me on the journey. I'd love for you to order the book for yourself. I'd love for you to order a copy for a friend. And if you run a team or you're part of an organization, there are some other opportunities that involve some keynote speaking or some virtual presentations for you. So take a peek at the website. All the information you need is there. And I truly hope to see some of you in the community and the group coaching programs that we're offering. We'll talk to you soon. Go make it a great day. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you must come check out the Mindset Architect Group Coaching Program. It's our monthly program where we explore the power of your mindset, help you identify what you truly want in business and life, and then help you reach those goals. Come check us out at rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. That's rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. We'll see you there.